Meanwhile, a federal insider trading investigation has already hit one of the nation's richest men, and now that case is getting much bigger. Prosecutors are cracking down on 14 more people, including attorneys and Wall Street professionals, in the case that began last month following the arrests of Galleon Group founder Raj Rajaratnam and 5 others. Prosecutors say that the defendants allegedly made more than $50 million in illegal profits. Meanwhile, a judge is refusing to lower the bail package of Raj Rajaratnam from $100 million to $25 million, but he did agree to loosen his travel restrictions. While there have been no convictions in the Galleon case, it points to the continued problem of insider trading, despite laws against it. One question being raised, what are the motivating factors behind insider trading, and what can be done to stop it? Joining me now to talk about that is Doug Hirschhorn, an expert on market psychology and CEO of DrDoug.com, and David Berg, founding partner at Berg and Andrafi. Good to have you on the program, gentlemen. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, I mean, I guess, what is the motivation is sort of a naive question. Would you agree the motivation was money?
I don't think it's money. I spend my days and time working with the Wall Street top performers. It is not greed. This is not about greed. With the guy at Raj's level of performance, it's not about making a little bit of more money. It's about being competitive. It's about finding an edge. It's about being the best he can possibly be in a very, very competitive industry.
Yeah, and they did find an edge, right, David? I mean, the edge of getting information that was only known to a select few was what they allegedly ended up being successful at.
Well, that's the allegation.
And I said allegedly.
Yes, exactly. And I have to go back to something Doug said. I understand what Doug does for a living. Part of the architecture of my firm is a forensic psychologist who helps us enormously up our game, make us better trial lawyers, and I think that's what he tries to do for traders. But to say that greed doesn't motivate these folks, the people who get an illegal edge, I think is naive. I think that's exactly why people get in trouble. And one of the common denominators of the white-collar cases I've been in is that people get away with something once, get away with something twice, and then I do agree at some point it becomes a game that is designed to make them look smarter and better at what they do than others, but greed is at the heart of it.
Yeah, it's a really good point. But I mean, greed may be at the heart of it, but these are smart people, right? I mean, you would think that they're smart people. Why risk everything and break the law? I mean, and we're it's amazing. And the numbers, $50 million, it's amazing how stupid you can be if it is in fact true.
The idea of money, it changes meaning to these people after a certain level. Once their net worth reaches a certain level, it's not about buying another plane or owning an island. They play the game, they view it as literally like a puzzle. One of the first questions I ask all of my clients is, why are you still doing this? You're making tremendous sacrifices, personal and professional, to put the time and energy. Why do you keep on doing this? And it's not about the money. They come back to me with things like, you know what? It's like building a puzzle. I've got all these pieces. I want to win. I want to be respected by my peers. A lot of them have dysfunctional backgrounds in their childhood that they're trying to prove something by outperforming. I got to go back and disagree with David. It's at the core level of the high level of performers that Raj is at. It is not about money. It's not a greed driver. It's an ego driver that comes into play, but it's not about the dollars.
David, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I have a friend who the other day was killed in an auto accident, a guy I went to law school with. He had $1 billion, but he had a hole in his soul that he couldn't fill up with money. And I have a sense that at some profound level, that has a lot to do with a lot of these folks. It's a shame, though, to indict. I'm not trying to indict an entire industry because the hedge funds, for instance, I've been associated with are large. They deal with institutional investors, and they have their compliance officers that keep them out of trouble. What you're seeing now are some marginal players who, like ambulance chasers, give our profession a bad name. They give their profession a bad name. But to deny the role that money and piling up money has in their psyche, I think, is naive, Doug. And I know you do a good job, and I admire your work. But I think, at least in my experience, there's not enough money to fill up their egos.
And I can appreciate that, but they view money, it's not dollars and cents like it might be to you and me or even Maria. They view it as a point system, a way of kind of quantifying their value. So to your point, what I'm saying is I think we might be saying that the money, it's not dollars like America thinks of dollars to buy a house. They view dollars as a way to quantify, literally to measure how good they are at what they do. Now, for the lower level people, It might be about greed. It might be trying to find a quick buck. But like you said, you have that in all professions. You've got ambulance chasers in law. You've got bad doctors that do healthcare fraud. In trading, to bastardize the whole industry based on some things that go on that have been pretty normal practice on some level as far as getting color and information flow. There's a difference. There's a lot of gray area here that needs to be cleared up in the industry, from the trading floors to the hedge funds. Business is done based on relationships in that world, and people need to understand that.
Well, that's a really important point, because there are going to be relationships. And there are relationships. That's the reality. And some people have certain information. I mean, some of these guys were exposed to it. So, you know, I mean, the relationship is a really critical part of this.
You know, I hear this rationalization all the time. It's not about the money. It's how I keep score. But I've known some of these people personally. I've known people of enormous wealth and accomplishment who don't just keep score, but who keep buying things and who want more and more. So we've already gone through that a bit. I really disagree with Doug on this. But, you know, one of the things that life is about relationships. It's not just about the dollar. That's what Saint-Exupéry wrote about in The Little Prince. But the bastardization of these relationships, the way people draw one another into these circles, like the Gordon Geckos of the world, is sociopathic. Look at Bernard Madoff. That guy destroyed people without a conscience, without any sense of guilt, apparently, destroyed some of the best people in the United States, his friends.
Yeah, it's an interesting subject, actually, as far as the motivation and what's behind it. Gentlemen, thank you for weighing in on this. We so appreciate it.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
And of course, we want to make sure to emphasize no one has been convicted.